Okay, so I'm Mridant. Welcome to the podcast. So I think we've been planning to do this since a long time, but it's good, that
Yeah,
finally we got some time. Anyways, so
long time.
yeah, long time. So just to introduce you, in fact, I have kept your intro in front of me on the screen because it's a pretty large
Sure.
introduction. So So
Okay, go ahead.
Mrigank
Thank
is
you.
the co-founder and CEO of Fit Syndicate Lifestyle Solutions Private Limited, and he's also the founder and head of Web3 Skilling Project, a blockchain for productivity forum India. So I mean, I know blockchain for productivity forum. It's been headed by Dr. Satya Gupta. So fantastic. That's a fantastic forum, and uh, you've also received an award for like for policy shaping and as an advisor for Web3 and blockchain education. And yours is also the best upcoming startup in blockchain and gamification category. And you are 25 under 25 leaders at Tomorrow Award 2023 from the X Startup Fellowship. uh, what else? Yeah, and the most important thing is that you have already raised a funding, a tech grant of roughly 400k US dollars, right? Yeah, which translates to roughly three and a half CR in Indian currency.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, okay, so I guess that was a hell of a intro. So
Yeah.
okay, so I'll just start with sort of introducing this episode. So this is one of the I would say second episodes where we are talking about startups. And previously your colleague, your co-founder Shashank was also
Co-founder.
on the
Yeah,
podcast.
Shashank sir.
Yes, he was also on the
Yeah.
podcast, and we had some great conversation. So Mrigank,
Yeah.
let me introduce, Fit Syndicate in one line. So Fit Syndicate is basically the
Sure.
world's first Web 3.0 blockchain enabled fitness and wellness startup, right? And
First of its kind, but yeah.
okay, first of its kind. That's fantastic. And about you, I've already introduced you. So, yeah, that's fantastic because you are into a wellness sector, and as per the McKinsey report, wellness sector is poised to clock at about 1.5 trillion US dollars by 2030 itself, right? So we all know, that
Right.
wellness is a sunrise industry, and just to sort of summarize a bit of a
Actually, the figure that figure is actually only for the online fitness part, online wellness part. Actually, the wellness
yeah,
numbers are much
much
higher,
higher, yeah,
and yeah,
yeah.
it is supposedly shooting up also.
Yeah. It's actually shooting up, and I mean, the projections might be much more than like all of these people are doing.
Correct.
So, anyways,
Exactly.
just to put into perspective about Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3 for the layman in a few lines. So, Web 1 was basically when the websites were static and they were linked through hyperlink back in those days. And then Web 2 came into picture, and Web 2 was all about interactivity. So people could interact with each other on the social media. They could write blogs. They could interact on the website, and they could also transact through various national and international currencies. Now, Web 3, in which we are heading right now, is Web 3 is basically it's combining the virtual reality, the physical reality, right, on the architecture of artificial intelligence and blockchain. And
Correct.
for transaction, the currencies which would be used on it would be basically central bank digital currencies, which earlier we were thinking that it's a form of
Or
or
cryptocurrencies
cryptocurrencies.
as well.
Yeah,
Majorly it's cryptocurrencies, but yeah, like our project is based on central bank
central bank digital.
digital
Yeah,
currency. So
the
there are very
e-rupee.
few of the projects that are going through that direction.
Mm.
But yeah, other than that, majorly it's happening over cryptocurrencies only.
Okay, yeah. So this would basically include and combine your physical reality, your virtual reality, augmented reality, and it would happen inside of the metaverse, because that would be the platform which will
Yeah,
combine all of these things together, right?
correct.
Yeah.
That's the vision.
That's
Yeah,
the vision. Okay.
true.
So, okay, so now you know that we've given some sort of an introduction of Web 1, 2, and 3 as well. So let's start,
Yeah, yeah.
with the the question. But before that, I don't know if the guests know about this or not. You were selling fitness services back in college days when you yourself used to weigh what? How many kgs were you at that time? Uh,
uh, it was 128
yeah, yeah,
kgs that I
128
was
kgs, and you were selling
at
fitness
on
fitness products.
5'11" height.
Yeah, and you were selling fitness products consistently for 2 years. Am I right? Two years, right?
Yeah,
And you were
in my second year and final year of
yeah. And
graduation.
what was the average
Yeah.
ticket size you were selling?
Who has given you all these inputs?
No,
These are
actually,
like bang on.
yeah, actually,
35,
yeah. The other day I was talking to
yeah.
Shashank, your co-founder. So,
I figured, I figured. 35K was the average
wow.
ticket value size.
Okay.
And yeah, I was doing that. And because like it was all audio sales, tele sales, so I managed to do that. But yeah, like for 2 years, people, whoever I was
So they
selling
didn't see
to,
you.
were
They
sort
didn't see you in person.
yeah, they didn't know who they were talking to, although they know they were talking to some Rigang, but yeah, like they had no idea.
Okay, fantastic. And after that, you've managed to, get fit and lose a lot of weight in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
And I guess that is where your passion for fitness began. And so when was it exactly? You guys thought of venturing into Fit Syndicate.
So Fit Syndicate as a concept, we have been researching on like for around over 2 years now, but 1.5 years now. But the officially the launching of it, or let's say the project starting date would be just a couple of months back, maybe 2 or 3 months back, you can say. But other than that, that how that shaped up was because like previously we were working as the company is still existent, transformation.in. So over there, we used to sell a lot of videos or sort of solutions and fitness consultancy for individuals and for organizations that want for basically your employee wellness programs and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But that was sort of a declining market that made us research on what's going to be the future and how we can stay ahead of the curve and then venture into the idea of fit syndicate, and from there we sort of like came to the Fit Syndicate as you know now currently.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. So, like, what prompted you, to get into the Web 2.5 and Web 3 space? Because these are the technologies, which are still yet to come, right? And a
That's right.
layman would not know about these technologies upfront. So, like, what was your point of moment when you said that you would want to diversify or, maybe enter into Web 2.5 and Web 3?
As I mentioned, ki we were just figuring out ki what's the future gonna be. We didn't have any idea regarding Web3 or if we'll be going that route. But yeah, our natural sort of whatever the client that we were dealing with, even the corporate employees that were a part of a corporate plan that we were dealing with, this was sort of a feedback or sort of you can say a primary research driven decision that we came upon ki this is the natural progression of things, of how things will function. And once the AI wave started, since the launch of chat GPT itself, that day I was like dead sure ki the business is going on a downturn from there. The overall industry is going to be dead because ideally right now you don't have to pay any sort of individual or even a company that provides fitness services or a very average sort of fitness services, as long as you're not getting into very depth or very detailed modeling or maybe participating in some fitness competitions or a modeling pageant competition also. So other than that, everything you can function. There are pretty much the arbitrages that are happening currently. That is using AI, the basic AI algorithm, and just putting a layer of UI UX over it and sharing the same with the client. client. So a client would then be as good as a coach, what in terms of the instructions that they are giving, as long as the bot or the program or the application is trained properly with an authentic database. That's it. So that was the main thing, and therefore we started up.
Okay, okay. And I guess what you mentioned was that, the wave is going towards AI side. I mean, yes, that's. I mean, I would agree. Because the chairman of OpenAI, Sam Altman, sorry,
Hmm.
was here in Delhi, I guess, yesterday or day before yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, and he was on his India tour, and I was watching his video, and he said that AI is going to be the way of the future. And although he expressed a bit of his concerns on the fast development of artificial intelligence, because what he said was that the amount of intelligence which humans have gathered over the last 3.9 billion years over the course of our evolution, the artificial intelligence has been able to gather more intelligence than human beings in the last 10 years. So, that is what his concern is. But having said that, since we know, Bill Gates also tweeted the other day that we are entering the age of AI. So I guess, yes, here we are. So, yeah, you were mentioning, about corporate clients and all that. And there's this another push from the World Economic Forum and the United Nations, which is talking about sustainable development goals. and
correct, correct.
and sustainable development goals would translate into ESG, or environmental social governance.
Yeah,
The moment we talk about the relationship between the corporate and its employees. Now, the good thing about ESG is that employee well-being sits at the core of ESG, especially the S part of ESG, which is the social part, because it talks about employee well-being, physical well-being, mental well-being, the health of the environment,
yeah,
because the idea is that the health of the environment and the health of the people are interrelated, and hence ESG. So I guess that's where your model would be doing amazing, because few months down the line, SEBI has already mandated the top Indian companies to report,
yeah.
yeah, to report ESG
ESG,
scores,
yeah, yeah.
and
By
yeah, yeah,
2025,
yeah, to
probably.
report ESG scores and employee wellness scores soon. So I guess you have a huge market in front of you as far as India is concerned,
True.
right?
True, true. Not just India, even like internationally, it's gonna be a big thing coming up. And in India, you rightly mentioned that there is this movement of a lot of companies to provide services and basic sort of packages that are the employee wellness, that are covering the entire spectrum of
Yeah,
employee wellness, including your physical, mental, spiritual, and like all the
yeah,
aspects of well-being for and it's basically in the let's say it's also sort of an advantageous move from the employer side as well, because like if as long as you are able to keep the workforce fresh and they are not burned out, they are much more productive, which has been proven time and again in the history. And hence like but the programs like these are actually, there have been studies, we ourselves have actually mapped out that before and after sort of a picture of once we entered a company, and we sort of shifted the entire model in a certain manner where employees were where employees you can say the burnout, their absenteeism, even the turnover rates, and whatever the cost of HRs would be to then hire those new resources, and the training time period and the resources that are going into training the new client, plus the opportunity cost of all of this, where a existing employer would have actually ideally been benefiting the organization for that particular duration. So that cost itself per employee is actually very high in India specifically. And right now, if you see even worldwide, the concept of silent resignation is
yeah,
happening,
yeah,
because like yeah, because as the work environment is getting sort of hybrid, a lot of people are opting for having two to three jobs, also four
yeah.
jobs
Is it
also. I've seen
okay?
people having. but they don't put in a lot of effort then for in few of the roles where the as such you can say the supervision is not very extreme, because they if as long as like it's a give and take relationship in everything. So if the employer will take care of the
Sure.
employees will reciprocate it for the organization.
Sure.
So that's the whole idea.
So,
And
so,
yeah,
so,
that's
although
how.
I, spoke about Fit Syndicate in my own way in one single line, but why don't you take this opportunity to explain us what Fit Syndicate is? Because,
Definitely.
there are a lot of terminologies like gamifying, like, influencing the user behavior, like incentivizing them, etc. So why don't you take us through, Fit
Yeah.
Syndicate?
Yeah. So, okay. So, just in a very basic sort of a statement, Fit Syndicate, we are just gamifying and monetizing users' healthy lifestyle choices. So, with an ultimate aim of making sure that the services or relevant products that come under the category of wellness, fitness, or health are available, affordable and accessible, as well as aspirational for all, so that these are the 5 ways, as we like to call it, so that it can people can have the basic right of getting the proper information as well as proper and relevant tools to deal with a lot of new age diseases that the numbers are getting like really out of hand. And like the obesity rates are actually directly linked to how a employees performance is also. So that's also a study that has been done. So like on every basis, like it's very important, right from the childhood of a let's say from school's age to anywhere, there should be right and relevant practices which shape employees or individuals to take care of their own personal health and wellness, because the mindset shift is has started to
So how
begin,
will you
but
influence their
the
behavior?
infrastructural
How will
level
you
also we
influence
need
the
to.
behavior of the user? Because suppose, I'm trying to
Hmm,
paint a picture. Suppose, you have a corporate wellness program running with a corporate, and there
yeah.
are, let's say, 100 employees in that company. So how would you get on to influence the behavior of those 100 employees to take up
Hmm.
healthier choices in their life?
Understood. So this is sort of a very technical answer, but I'll try to keep it very sort of without using any jargons and in a very simplistic language, so that people like me who don't have a tech background can also understand it. So ideally, what the whole plan is, and it is not just limited to the employees. The employees was just an example, as you mentioned, but for anyone and everyone, I am mentioning this, having gone through the whole journey myself also. So ideally, there should be as like a instant gratification associated with anything, because of the limited or continuously shortening of time span of our generation and the coming generations is happening, or that the trend is rising, right? So like when it comes to fitness or health or wellness, the results are never instant. Like in one session, in one week, in one month, you can't do a lot, and specifically in the right manner, where you are probably optimizing for maximum fat loss and by retaining sort of your muscle mass also, or in the other case, in case of bulking, you are then optimizing for maximum muscle gain and minimum fat gain along with that. So that's the whole idea. But then there comes the whole sort of function of gamifying it, and that's how we are. The whole model is to create basic communities of people with who have similar thoughts, similar lifestyles, maybe from a same organization or different organizations, everyone coming together and supporting each other in sort of taking the healthier route, and they will get this sort of their overall wellness plan would then be shortened into multiple you can say tasks or challenges. We refer
Okay,
to
okay.
it internally as events. So these sort of events will be hosted, and the individuals are incentivized to take part in it, because as much as the engagement and successful participation of the individual would be there, they will then be incentivized in terms of tokens. So the tokens, in our particular scenario, we are naming it Bitcoins. So it's just like any other token. If you want, we can get into the details of like what tokenization is. But yeah, just for now, continuing it. So yeah, so the tokens are generally backed or sort of by a cryptocurrency. But as you know, in India, it has a sort of it's a
Gray
gray
area.
area
Yeah.
right now, and we want to be on the right side of it. So we have backed all our tokens with your central bank issued digital currency, that is
EUP.
CBDC.
Okay. And so you just mentioned, that the employees would be given certain activities and they would be incentivized on basis of the performance of those activities. So if I were to picture this, suppose, inside a company, all these employees would be maybe having a phone application of Fit Syndicate, and suppose
Correct.
the event which you uh, try to float on a particular day is that 1000 steps per day for the next 30 days, let's say, right? So whoever takes 1000 steps every day properly for the next 30 days, their scoring would be uploaded on the app, and all the other employees would be able to see their colleagues' scorings as well as their own scorings, to foster a sense of healthy competition between themselves and their colleagues. And at the same time, the people who are performing those 1000 steps every day properly, which is maybe tracked by a wearable tech like an Apple Watch, or maybe, like these days inside the phone also, we have the health app through which this can be tracked. So that fosters a sense of competition. And secondly, they would be incentivized through tokenization, through tokens, which is backed by the e-rupee, which is the central bank digital currency, right? So how are these tokens being mined? From where are these
Huh.
tokens coming?
So So actually, now that is a technical bit, but okay, let me again try to explain the whole concept of something known as liquidity pools. So the like how we are able to do is by incorporating the concept of liquidity pool in our overall setup. So firstly, it would not be just an application where the employees would be there. This will be a wholesome platform, and over there there can be multiple challenges, and which, as I mentioned, we are calling it as events officially. So those events can be created. And for example, just taking your case, so this can be, let's say, a XYZ corporation is there, which has created or hosted an event. So they have the option to limit it to whatever and form the rules and regulations and regarding however they wish for it to be. For example, in this condition, it would be a limited sort of event where the let's say 100 people would be a part of. So it can be on an invitation basis. If they want to charge for it, that can also be there. Multiple permutation combinations of challenge creations would be there. But now coming to how these tokens are being mined, that is through a liquidity pool. And I'll try to explain liquidity pool as simply in as simple words as I can. So this is the most basic version of liquidity pool, but there can be like multiple equations. But for now, let's keep it here itself, because this itself is sort of
Okay.
complicated for any non-tech sort of guy. So the ideal equation should always be x into y is equal to z. Okay. So now x here refers to the tokens. In our case, the tokens being Bitcoins, y being the CBDC or a cryptocurrency in other sort of countries or other sort of organizations who fall under the same spectrum. So there can be a currency or a coin, and that's the Y for you, and Z is always supposed to be
X
constant.
is
So for
tokens, and what is
example,
Y?
why is either your currency, that is a in our example that is a central
Okay.
bank
Okay.
digital currency, or cryptocurrencies in most of the
Okay.
examples, like majority of the players, for them the y is a cryptocurrency, so a coin. So basically a token into a
Okay.
coin is equal to z. That is the whole equation, and in this entire equation z will always be constant. So that's at the inception point, x is equal to y. So
Mm-hmm.
for example, let's say if we are starting off our whole platform at just 100 sort of bitcoins that are to be
Which is
mined,
X.
okay, that are available to that are available to be mined,
Which is
right?
X.
100 bitcoins in
Okay.
total. X is 100. Yeah. So that should be equal to the monetary value of y. That is your central bank
Okay.
issued digital
Okay.
currency. So again, y will have to be equal. Y will have to be
Yeah.
100. So x is 100. Y is 100. So x into y will become your 10,000, right? So this 10,000 figure will not be changing at all.
Okay.
Now imagine, so basically, as and when the people are engaging with the platform, they will be able to mine the coins on the basis of their performances and winning the events and how the engagement is. And for that to happen, the amount of x will automatically
Yeah.
fall down,
Yeah.
right? So as and when x is
Y
falling
is
down,
increasing.
and since your no, why? Huh? Coming to that. So x is falling down, and because z is always supposed to be constant, now y has to
Yeah. Yeah.
increase. Between x and y, that would be your rate of exchange between a token and a coin would always be determined by any changes of either addition or deduction in either of the x or the y factor of it. So that's the whole theory. And similarly, for example, let's say if someone buys a lot of tokens, so in that case also the tokens that is X is reducing and Y is automatically increasing because there is more cash that is coming into the system.
So you've explained about the model of X into Y, which equals to Z. So it's pretty clear till then. So this means that it is some sort of a model of move to earn, which has been maybe derived from play to earn, which used to happen a few years
Pay to
back.
play, pay to play.
Pay to play, sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
which
No,
used
pay
to
to
happen a few
play
years back. So
was
what is
the.
move to earn?
So
What is move to earn economy?
you can say that move to earn also comes under pay to play, because pay to play actually is slightly wider than move to earn concept. Plus, move to earn is sort of a trend that is just popping up amongst the crypto users more, and the general sort of public is sort of still not aware about what that is, although they might have already been a part of it or experienced it in some way or the other. For example, the last question that you had for walking and all, so that was ideally a move to an economy sort of thing, where the apps that are or the organizations that are coming under the move to earn segment would operate. So, for example, on completing certain number of steps, you are able to then mine those particular tokens. So, I might be able to mine 100 tokens at the end of my 10,000 steps of a single day, right? Or 10 tokens or whatever the equation might be. Similarly, but the thing is ki, move to earn is actually till now it's not as a concept it's very wide, but in practicality the usage has been very narrow. For example, there are only 2 3 use cases which exist in the market today, that is either calculating your distance displacement wise or steps wise, which you already have mentioned can be done by your wearable technologies, even by your smartphones, and it can be then cycling at a particular pace. A few or one or two other models are also there, like normal cycling, marathon, all these sort of things or activities are organized by the move to earn companies as such. But we completely don't kind of you can say come under the exact umbrella of move to earn, because we are sort of widening the scope of activities. So rather than providing just 4 to 5 options of creating sort of your challenges or events for the users to engage in, we or our platform would sort of be the first one to be providing ultimately 30 or 35 plus sort of activities which can be tracked. And because for everyone the choice of sport or the choice of activity
Yeah.
that they want to indulge in to lose the calories would be different and should be different according to their
Mm.
own tastes and preferences. For example, I might want
Yeah.
to play volleyball instead of just keep on walking, right? Like, so why should I be limited to that? So if playing volleyball for
Mm.
x number of hours, that even that would be able to mine certain tokens for them. And there can be challenges designed to it, and as I mentioned, there would be more than 30 to 35 activities of this kind that people will be able to calculate, track, and design the challenges by, or there might be a combination of them as well. So inside a company itself, like among those 100 people that we were taking as an example, maybe there might be a ratio of choice between 3, 4, 5 activities of different interests for people, right? Like 20 people might be interested in, let's say, just walking. 20 people, 20 or 25 odd people might want to play cricket or are playing cricket.
Yeah.
Someone else
It could be
might
a
be
category wise contest. It could be a category
yeah,
wise contest, fitness category wise or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's sort of the main differentiating factor also. One of the major differentiating factor also, apart from the fact being that we are backing our tokens by the central bank issued digital
Central bank.
currency. So these two are
Mm.
the major differentials that are keeping us sort of halfway in the move to an economy, but we are not completely there. And again, you can name it as being in the web 2.5 economy rather than being a part of web 2 or web 3, as the current status
Okay.
is also, right?
Okay. Okay. And you mentioned some time back that as far as the move to earn is concerned, you were somewhere at the corner, not not at the core of it. So, what did you mean by that? That your company or your project would be somewhere at one corner of the move to an economy.
Correct. So ideally, what these move to earn sort of companies or organizations are doing, and there are very few players globally. In India, no one as such is doing it on a very major scale. There are a few companies who are trying to do it, who have sort of also raised capital on it, but again, they are keeping the scope of activities very narrow. Whatever is feasible by a Google sort of your Google Fit is something that is an ideal metric for many companies, that if they can create challenges around whatever it can measure, they are creating those challenges. But now with the AI wave, with the metaverse wave, with the blockchain technologies that are coming up, the gamification advancements, there is tech available, and even the variables are gonna take a shape in which we will be able to monitor more and more of certain activities. And in the meantime, also considering there is no significant let's say advancement right now, even right now we are ready with trackers of up to like 30 to 35 different activities, as I mentioned previously. And this all can
Mm.
be very well, like we can do it in a very let's say a very systematic or very sophisticated technologies also, which is also available right now. But it can be done through your smartphone itself, and that is again like ideally designed in that manner, because we wanted to for every average user also to be able to afford it, and there should be no limitation. So for example, then tomorrow there might be x number of companies operating in health and wellness and fitness category, and even individuals as coaches, as doctors, anyone. So all of these individuals can operate and will actually have a better infrastructure to operate on, and that would be our platform which is there. And that's the main sort of indicator that is keeping us separate from being a completely move to earn economy, because that is just dependent
Okay.
on how your movement is. Here, any sort of calories
Mm.
that you are burning in by any of the preferred choices of sport or any other exercises, depending on a lot of other measures also, will be tracked. Apart from that, we are not just limiting it to your these sort of gamification challenges, stuff like that. There would be activities of that would be very personalized, and the challenges also, you as a user will be only able to enter if you don't have certain conditions. For example, we are taking
Okay.
continuously the blood reports of a lot of people. We will be taking as and when before they are about to start their journey, or they're getting onboarded onto the platform, and which they can avail like very easily, because I think a lot of people are do consider that like overall blood, your overall body's blood checkup might be very costly, and a lot of labs actually make it very costly, but there are few players who have brought down the cost very
Yeah.
low. For example, Thyrocare is there and stuff like that. A lot of new companies are emerging. So there in and the government of India itself incentivizes or basically provides a tax benefit of 5,000 per individual per year to get their blood work done. And
Mm.
ideally, in 1500 to 1600, one sort of overall full body blood checkup can be very easily managed. So for anyone who
Mm.
wants to properly take it, let's say thrice a year, we can monitor their entire hormonal profile or metabolic profile as well.
Mm.
And then according to that, because ultimately your physical fitness or your let's say aesthetic fitness that you want to achieve can be optimized, like we can only optimize for that once we are also aware about what's happening inside our body. For example,
Mm.
if there might be some hormonal changes in some hormonal your hormonal, let's say, deficiencies or inaccuracy in an individual's body. So first part would be to correct that, because as long as we are not rectifying the core issue, whatever sort of improvements will be there, they will be there, but they will not be 100% let's say 100% sort of value that the user will be able to avail it as compared to the efforts that they are putting in. Apart
Mm.
from the money, apart from the other resources, even the your like the blood, sweat, time, a lot of resources are going
Mm.
into let's say making a complete sort of transformation or even improving your overall health.
Mm.
So that if
Mm.
every input you are putting, you might as well put just put a extra sort of level of caring, so that we can at the same time provide nutrition plans, and maybe subject certain people who have maybe high BP issues or heart issues
Mm.
to not enter into the challenges, or to restrict them to
Mm.
challenges that might not be hazardous or risky for their particular personal health. Plus
Ah.
they will also be able to track their progress of hormonal profile of how that is improving over time, due to again repeating the blood test like thrice a year, every 4 months. If you get it done, that would be
Mm.
amazing, because that way
Mm.
firstly a lot of Indians, I'll say ki, are not aware of what sort of situation they are. We
Yeah.
ourselves have actually because we as a company before also, when we were just providing services via Transform Nation, and Fit Syndicate was not into the picture at all. Even then, we had in our SOPs, the first part of onboarding was to get the blood test done of their entire body. So a lot of patients that used to come to us, or not patients, the users, we were actually the ones who, because of advising them to get the blood test done, they have gotten it done, and they have understood that they are pre-diabetic, or they have some sort of situation which might impact their health in a very significant way. And pulling someone from a pre-diabetic stage as compared to pulling back someone who has crossed the line and is in the
Yeah.
diabetic condition is completely like different. So
Yeah.
a lot of people who have gotten it done at the right time, we were able to get them back very easily. And otherwise it would have been like, just imagine, like if you would not have gotten if you would have taken a month or two more to get connected with us and not getting your blood work done, you might be for your rest of the life might be on the other side of it, right?
Mm.
So that's one thing. So that's why I'll say ki, we are not just a move to earn company, because we take care of your overall health and well-being, even emotionally, mentally. As I mentioned in the employee wellness program, also we will not
Yeah.
just be focusing on the physical aspects. There will be
Mm.
your sort of mental health or practices would be in place, which would
Mm.
ensure that the employees' mental well-being is there, their work-life balance is being maintained. If certain employees are having some sort of issues, any issues it might be, they want to go for therapy, that would be available, and everything will be there. And all of this while ensuring that we are going by the principle of providing the ownership of your own records or one's own records with themselves. So, for example, now if I am owning my own health records and data, then it's up to me to whom and up to what extent I want to share it with. So, if you have some issues, you can share that data, and there would be a separate database for employees for a personal sort of tracking, health tracking, wellness tracking, and the overall macro database for the employer or whoever is managing the employee wellness part from the company, who will receive the data of the overall data of all the employees anonymously, so that the anonymity is also maintained, and the employees feel very comfortable in a way to share their data, and the manager gets an overall picture of how everything is going on and can accordingly takes some calls of how whatever might be required to take their respective companies in the right direction.
So much of it would be automated, through the contests and through the tracking of, let's say, these contests. If someone is supposed to cycle or say take 1,000 steps per day, that, and since the gamification model revolves around incentivizing to change the user's behavior, so I'm sure even the incentivizing is automated, right? Because the moment a user reaches his or her target of say 1,000 steps at the end of 30 days, there would be some sort of a smart contract maybe into picture, that the reward will be automatically pushed in terms of token or whatever the reward is towards the employee, without there being all this admin issue behind, and that would erase maybe all sorts
So,
of
yeah.
inefficiencies, or
Understood.
yeah.
So smart contract actually would be not on the challenge creation part only, it would be on the entire platform that we have. So for example, let's say the entire platform is in a way running on a smart contract basis completely. So a complete automated program, and hence like there would be measures of creating the challenges and limitations of creating the challenges in a certain manner, which would take care of what you were mentioning earlier about how they want
Okay.
to shape things up. So, for example, coming the previous example that I mentioned about someone having a BP issue or a heart rate issue. So, a company, let's say, if they are organizing something like a very 100-meter fast pacing race. So we would obviously not,
Hmm.
matlab automatically the smart contract will restrict that particular users on the on the basis of the reports that are already provided or are uploaded on the on the blockchain, that is the ledger that is basically keeping the
and
record.
and it and this would be decided by the artificial intelligence technology, not by any employer, that this guy has a heart issue, so this competition should not be pushed for him,
So, for
this would
example, let's
be
say,
decided by the
yeah,
algorithm.
just to give you an example, let's say I am an employee who has some issues, right? So, if the challenge has to be created, and my company has created challenges for everyone, but I have a certain ailment that might create a risk factor for me to take part in that particular challenge, right? So because my health records, that is the blood or metabolic testing already being uploaded in
Yeah,
the system, the AI automatically through machine learning will restrict me to,
that's wonderful.
exactly, yeah, to restrict me to enter the competition itself. So that's how things would be, and that's
Mm,
how things are supposed to run as well. And as and when required, some
mm,
manual intervention, there are provisions for that also. So in the future, like if something is happening which AI cannot determine, there are provisions in the smart
mm,
contract itself that would then come
mm,
into play, and things can move forward smoothly.
mm. Okay, so I guess now we have an overall sort of a picture. So, what are your projections, for the next, let's say, 5 to 7 years? Because 2030 is the deadline which even the World Economic Forum has given to all the nations to, accomplish some sort of their sustainable development
Hmm.
goals. And I think health is a part of their sustainable development goal
Correct.
number three, if I'm not wrong. I'll check it although. So, what are your projections and how do you plan to get to the market?
Yeah. So firstly, though there will be a lot of crypto users. Like for example, by 2025, the projections were somewhere around a million of crypto users would be there. So automatically, if you are a crypto user, you will also be aware of the other concepts. For example, a blockchain, a liquidity pool, smart contract, as we mentioned previously, tokenization.
But there's a lot of hesitation around, around the crypto usage. So, how
Yeah. Please
do
continue. Sorry.
so how do you plan to take care of that hesitation?
Correct. Correct.
Because
So
although it is not illegal, but it is not legal
yeah,
also.
true.
So it's a
True.
gray area as you
Yeah.
mentioned. So
So the
yeah,
legality part, so basically the any income that you are deriving out of cryptocurrencies or anything related to your Web3 digital assets, that has been taxed as per the government, but the it's let's say cryptocurrency is not a legal tender of exchange as of now. So that is the main reason. Plus, again, that along with the volatility of cryptocurrencies, which is really
exchange
high,
rate. Yeah,
and specifically for let's say Indian consumer context, who have like in the last 2 years itself just gotten to stock market and understanding of basics of how investment works. This would be really a huge leap if they are trading in crypto markets. So that's why we have actually backed all our tokens with CBDC, that is the central bank issued digital
central
currency,
bank.
and
Okay.
it
Yeah,
also has a geopolitical sort of benefit with us because of the whole
yeah,
de-dollarization that is happening right now. And
yeah.
definitely, like if our government is going in that way, so we are also aligning the let's say the aspect of our application or the principles of our application alongside the policy changes. So that's why particular, and that is
Got it.
the main differential also, which actually differentiates
Yeah.
us from any other application to out there in the market right now. And this ideally is also interestingly the probably the best sort of rewards program or loyalty points program that can be there or that has been there, because here the users will have two options. One is either they can participate in app purchase or in app sort of engagement via the token that they are earning, or they can also exchange it via the system of liquidity pools at again coming back
For
to,
the legal tender.
sorry.
Exchange it for the legal tender. Exchange it for the legal tender, which is
Huh.
the e-rupee or the central bank
Correct, correct. So
digital
exchange
currency.
rate that
Right.
would be prevailing at that point of time in the market, in the liquid market being the liquidity pool. That would be again
Liquidity
your
pool.
X and Y ratio that we talked about previously.
Yeah.
X is to Y. So according to that,
Fantastic. Got
so
it.
for example, let's say if the X is to Y ratio is for every one token of fit or one unit of Bitcoin is equal to, let's say, $100. So you can, if you have like 100, if you have 10 Bitcoins, then you automatically can cash those 10 Bitcoins for legitimate digital currency that would amount up to what, your 10,000 bucks of
Hmm.
real money.
Got it.
So sorry.
Got it. No worries. Got it. And okay, so I think that gives a perfect picture. So I think there's a like every company is your is your potential client in the next few years because of ESG.
That was the whole idea. Yeah, because in
Yeah, that's
any other
fantastic.
loyalty program, as good as it can be, or if it's even an amalgamation of different loyalty programs, even then you can't onboard each and every sort of individual seller that is there of any category. Like you will definitely not find your local or the very local shops or businesses on any of these platforms where people can use the tokens that they are deriving out of whatever loyalty programs they're following. For example, like you or like anyone of us also, whenever we are making a transaction from Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm, we are getting the scratch cards. But are those scratch cards of our interest,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
how many out of those scratch cards are we genuinely using? I think the
yeah,
percentage would be very low. For me personally, I
yeah.
don't know. I don't have any numbers regarding it. But in my own case, there's probably once or twice in my entire lifetime that I have gotten uh, a scratch
Hmm.
card that was actually of interest to me. Although people are
Hmm.
trying to make it more and more personalized, but that too is available to a certain extent. Hereby
Hmm.
providing an option to exchange it into a legitimate legal tender of money of a
Yeah.
nationality. You have the ability to use it at your local juice center also to get your orange juices. So, for example, that was
Hmm.
never
Yeah.
possible in any other
Yeah.
loyalty program or anything like that, right?
And what do you think, these companies like Healthify Me and FitPass are doing currently? Do you have any idea of the competition landscape that are they also planning to get into the same sort of like business model which you are thinking? Any wind of such
I am actually not the right person to comment on anything of what those companies are
yeah,
indulging
I
into.
understand.
And like I might not have, I actually don't have like the exact ideas of whatever they
Mm,
might be doing. Although like the
mm,
indicators and stuff, like you can, if you are in the industry, you can sort of figure out. But yeah, definitely if this is a trend that's happening globally. So I'm sure like the huge companies also might be looking onto it. But yeah, the thing is ki startup versus a huge organization, the advantage with a startup is only that the
yeah,
decisions or implementations can be much faster than a organized setup. But
yeah, yeah,
in our case, so by using the blue ocean philosophy, that as it is known as famously, so we have already differentiated ourselves from all of these companies, because we are the platform on which even these companies can exist. We are never a
mm,
either or we are never a or
yeah,
sort of a company or a platform to be. We are a and sort of platform. For example, a cult user, a Healthify user, or any let's say local gyms personal training user will be can also be on our platform without putting in any extra efforts, time, or money from their end, which they were anyway doing with just being on a certain platform. So even if you are adding
mm,
us to that, we are just getting those sort of ratings, and you are getting you are earning coins on the
got
basis
it.
of that. So it will never be a direct competitor to any of these big organizations. But
You
yeah,
would be acting
they have
as
a
you would be acting as a B2C also, and you would be also giving a platform for aggregation of all these fitness services and
Matlab,
all these
yeah,
companies.
yeah, correct, correct, correct. So just like, for example, a regular company can, as we were mentioning, ki a corporate can have their 100 employees as a part of a challenge on our platform. So maybe probably
Mhm.
tomorrow a cult or a Healthify Me can also give out challenges on our platform
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah,
we can enable them to create challenges for any and every cult user or a Healthify Me user or a Fit Pass user, for example. So,
yeah,
so that would again incentivize them, and as much as they will grow, it will in a way be better for us because that many people are getting
yeah, yeah, yeah,
at least involved in the whole ecosystem of health, wellness, and
yeah.
fitness framework, right?
No, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And okay, so how do you plan to, get employees, etc., onboarded, because
Sorry,
it's such
sorry,
a new concept.
I didn't get
How
the.
do you how do you plan to get the employees, etc., onboarded? Because it is such a new process. I heard, which I also mentioned in your introduction, that you are also the founder of the blockchain for productivity education program, wherein you are
No, no,
creating
the
cohorts.
Web three skilling program, the Web
Web
three
3
skilling
skilling, yeah, sorry.
program
Yeah, the
under
Web
the
3 skilling
Blockchain
program.
for Productivity Forum India. I'm the
Yeah,
head and the founder of the Web three scaling program.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
over
of
there,
course.
yeah, please continue.
So you are side by side also, skilling and training sort of people onto this platform towards this technology, so that you are able to, sort of help them to join your platform later. So I think that's forward integration as well as backward integration, and all those things at one go. So I think that's
No,
again a
no,
very
no, no,
smart
no.
move.
Actually, no, 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 no. That is, we are just educating the individuals about entire scope of Web3, even
Hmm.
apart from whatever the applications that we are utilizing in our organization.
Hmm.
Apart from that,
Yeah,
also whatever concepts are there or the newer concepts are there, which we ourselves are not sort of have included in our model because it might not require it. But then, for example, let's say someone operating in a legal industry, for them there might be another element of web3 spectrum or a tool that
yeah,
might
yeah.
help them to advance or somehow shape uh,
Yeah, yeah,
a,
definitely.
a
There are
new
already
sort of.
5-7. There are already 5-7 companies on the blockchain for productivity forum,
A lot of companies are
whose
there.
founders I have met. Yeah, whose founders I have
Yeah,
met
yeah,
already. Yeah, yeah.
already
So I think this ecosystem would be helping, all sorts of
all sorts of
uh,
to track all of this through the smartphones itself, which has already
yeah,
penetrated like among the tier 3 India as well, and even the
yeah,
wearables are getting like cheaper day by day, right? So even that is assumed to be one of the things that can be easily penetrable
definitely.
to
Yeah.
to India tier 2, India tier 3, so that it's a
Mm.
mass product. Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah.
So I think let's call it a day. We've had in detailed discussion, and where we've understood the entire business model of Fit Syndicate, which is basically all about creating positive user behavior by gamifying and incentivizing them at the individual level as well as at the group or community level or the corporate level.
That
And
along with,
on, yeah,
yeah, please continue. Then I'll add
yeah, yeah.
on to
And
it.
on the one hand, where you are doing a B2C, and on the
I
other
think
hand,
your
you are
screen
also
went off.
aggregating.
Your screen got disconnected. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Now it's
now,
fine.
yeah, yeah. Now I'm saying on the one hand, where you are trying to acquire customers like B2C model. On the other hand, you would be acquiring corporates, because
Yeah,
ESG would be mandating these corporates. And
correct.
at the same time, you are also like an aggregator forum where other fitness and wellness companies like FitPass, Amway,
True,
Healthify Me, Cult,
true.
etc., could join your
They can,
platform. To
yeah,
that's
they can
that's
operate.
great. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you're saying something, I guess. Uh, yeah.
Uh, so I was gonna add on to some point which you were mentioning. Yeah, yeah. I think I missed
Okay.
it. So let
No
I think
worries. No
that's it,
worries.
pretty much it. And yeah, yeah, I guess that's it. Not able to recall the thought.
No
So
worries, no worries. Thank you so much.
thank you so much
We'll, I'm
for
sure we'll meet
giving
again.
me the
Yeah,
opportunity to be on the platform, and it was great having a conversation with you. Like really nice questions. We ourselves would be able to actually redirect a lot of people to your video to sort of
yeah,
understand
yeah,
what
yeah.
the whole model is, because that would benefit us as well. Because you have actually
Huh.
asked point blank the exact queries that were very relevant in nature. So
No,
amazing
no.
job
Feel
on
free, feel free to use this video for all your,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
promotional uh,
100%.
tasks. So that's not a problem.
Not
That's
just
great.
not just promotion, for just let's say information or
Yeah,
sharing
yeah,
knowledge itself.
yeah.
This has been a great conversation.
Great.
Mindfulness apps, sleep aids, smart foods, smart bikes, health trackers, aromatherapy, injectables, organic everything. People are spending more on wellness than they ever have before. Wellness is now a $1.5 trillion market worldwide, and it's growing at a clip of 5 to 10% each year. McKinsey research shows that consumers are most interested in 6 wellness categories: health, fitness, nutrition, appearance, sleep, and mindfulness. New wellness products and services are hitting the market every day. So what might wellness look like in 2030? Let's look into the future.
I see there being a lot more offerings that let consumers triage any medical issues and take care of things for the most part by themselves, and only bringing in a doctor when that's really absolutely necessary. I also see this concept of devices moving from the doctor's office into the home. The pharmaceutical products of today will become the over-the-counter, easily accessible products of tomorrow.
I definitely don't see a world where it's just the at-home solutions and there's no gyms and no studio. I don't see that at all. I always like to say if Starbucks likes to think it can be a third place, then a gym can very well be a third place. And we'll also see, I think, a next step in terms of the ability to track or to give people ability to, hey, how do I know I'm improving? Tracking actually plays a very strong role. Not in optimizing everything, but in actually playing a strong motivation and guidance or coaching role.
People are reading a lot more labels. We think that will continue. They're looking to reduce sugar, but they are also looking for more sustainable eating. So we now have about 35% of consumers in the UK, the US, and Germany drinking plant-based milk at least some of the time. Half of them started in the last year. So that's quite a sea change, much faster than we usually see in the way we eat. And we think it's going to keep going.
So in 2030, I think that there's actually going to be an expansive amount of services that are offered within beauty retailers. You'll have the opportunity to actually get injectable services done. So if you want to plump up your cheeks or you want to plump up your lips, you'll be able to get clinical treatments like microdermabrasion that up until now have really been, saved for being done at a dermatologist office or a med spa. You might actually be able to get a tattoo at the same place that you're buying your makeup, because it's all about how you want to express yourself.
There's new innovations with sensors going under the mattress that can tell both how much you're moving around at sleep, how much time you spent in the bed. Imagine if your sleep data was connected to your exercise service or your exercise bike or your trainer. And now when you hop onto your bike, you are getting a class that's designed for someone that's having a poor night's sleep. Or imagine your fridge is starting to make suggestions to you. Don't make coffee.
I actually believe that mindfulness and the pursuit of mindfulness will become an essential aspect of how we live our lives. There is a little bit of, in my mind, a risk of the over-commercialization and frankly, being a bit of a gimmick. At least what's happening is people are more aware of this. as an offering, as a service. I do think that, technology and wearables will have a big role to play in this. A typical day for somebody who's a professional could look like they may actually start the day with either an offline or an online yoga or meditation class. And again, back through the wearable, at whatever time in the evening, it'll start telling you, listen, you need to now quieten your mind. It's easy to kind of dream those sorts of possibilities.
If wellness in 2030 will indeed be more tech-heavy, personalized, and interconnected, what does that mean for companies? What should companies do today to be successful in 2030?
It's critical to think about your digital strategy, and we mean that in a really broad sense. So both from a channel perspective, are you well set up to succeed, especially in e-commerce? And then also from a marketing perspective, leveraging the power of social and influencers.
Data is going to be the key. And having a way to tie these different data systems together is probably the best secret. Interconnectedness of data, interconnectedness of partnerships, that's going to be the real opportunity here.
So by 2030, I really think we're going to see a completely different store experience. It's about capturing that concept of discovery, either through services or through classes or through just a curated, excited, and gamified experience in order to bring that consumer in. So being able to see 3D versions of your face and actually being able to apply different color cosmetic products to it so that then you can just simply hit buy and have all of the products sent to your home.
Understand how your value proposition might have changed. If, as an example, you're a gym and you realize that in this more diverse routine, people are more creative about how they do cardio. How do I make sure I am seen as one of the solutions of today?
We think consumer goods companies need to own the explosion of small in their own categories. A lot of the growth is in smaller niche products. Consumer goods companies have all the expertise they need to excel at those. They don't always like the economics. Keep experimenting with ways to get great at small.
You've got to think about the individual as a whole person. I think a lot of offerings are coming at the individuals almost as components, as opposed to thinking of them as a whole human being and thinking about the arc of their day or the arc of their year and where is all that going to fit in it. Think about what is truly going to have lasting change.